Hello YouTube, Own Soldier 86, and we're right back with the level here. We're going to take a look at the objects and their placement. And keep in mind that each of these different cubes represent a specific object in game, and we do need to account for them all. If we start going through and deleting a whole bunch, we'll run into issues where the game will be looking for something and it won't find it, and it'll cause the level to crash. So rather than going through and adding and deleting things, I would recommend just moving them around to account for where each of these little targets should take place. So in other words, let's say I want to verify that my character spawn points are in the correct areas here. Let's take a look here. All the white squares represent the player placement when you're in a typical 4-player versus match with human players or bots, I guess. And so we have player 1 spawning on top of these boxes. Player 2 is spawning on top of this platform. Player 4 spawning on top of this platform, and I imagine this is player 3 spawning on top of this railway down here. So we have that accounted for. The green boxes represent our players' spawns in solo mode, and keep in mind that with the solo mode, Congo Jungle, we have the 3 characters versus the giant Donkey Kong, and this is where the character is going to spawn, the player, and then the 2 allies will spawn here and here, and then the DK, the giant Donkey Kong, will spawn right here, and it's labeled as Computer 1 solo mode. This one's labeled as Ally. So you can have this little text down here indicate which box represents which character spawn point. And then the 2 blue ones, which are a little bit hard to see. Actually, it appears that there's 3 of them. These represent the areas where in the introduction, this is the spawn point for those characters. And we might be a little glitchy because their cutscene is determining how those characters are moving and stuff in that particular cutscene. So it's all been scripted. So if the character is, for say, moving right and punching, well, this character might accidentally just fall off the ledge and punch in midair rather than punch this character because they're spawned in 2 different spots. We'll just have to play out the intro and see what happens. Sometimes you get some funny results. Sometimes it works fine. Sometimes it's glitchy, but it's just an introduction. It's not super necessary to worry about. And then all these pink ones here are where the characters will respawn in case they get knocked out. This is the most important one. The respawn KO point is the main spawn point. The rest of these are in case there's multiple characters that get knocked off at the same time. They need to have multiple spawn points. And I just decided to throw these around. We probably won't see characters spawn down here. We might see them spawn up here, but this one's going to be the main one. And then the red ones, of course, are for item spawn placements. And one thing I need to make mention quick before this video runs out is that you need to have quite a few number of item spots to spawn, because if you only have a couple, if you choose an option, if you complete the game and you have the option of selecting certain items to spawn on the level, some of these item boxes will will spawn certain items and some will not. It's kind of confusing, but I've played matches where I've had just say the beam sword and a pokeball, and you go to this level, and if you don't have enough item boxes, you might only get the beam sword and you might not get any pokeballs. So it's important that you make sure you remain consistent with the number of item boxes, and if anything, add some more if you're concerned that that might be an issue for your level. I have not added any, but I've never had any issues with item spawns, custom item spawns, I should say, with any of the default levels, except for Hyrule Castle. So that's something to be mentioned of. But anyway, I think we're done with the level. So we're going to go ahead and save it, and then we're going to go ahead and try this in game. So we'll be back, and we'll try this again with Project 64 and see how it runs.